Okay, mic check. If I were to do a mic check, would y'all be able to hear? Mic check, mic check, mic check. Hoping the audio is good. Somebody in the chat, let me know. Can y'all hear? I think there's a delay on the chat, so all good. Thank you, Amy. All right, cool. Mr. Blue here, Trade Phantoms. I see got some, mainly some Phantoms in here. I know we're kind of switching platforms, TikTok this, YouTube that, etc. But I'll be your guide and host. Today's date is going to be kind of already a kind of intense Thursday of March the 19th, 2026. And I'll go through some pre-market prep and set some things up and take us to the open and see if we have any tradable setups off the open. And I will potentially walk us through that and take the trade. Setting up one of my screens over here while people kind of scramble in. Gotta get to work though. Things are happening. During times like these, you gotta stay calm. You gotta stay cool, and you gotta make sure that you're not getting wrapped up in the emotion of the outside. All right, cool. So Trade Phantoms here. I'm Mr. Blue here. I'll spend about an hour, give or take, hour and a half, take us through the prep. We'll get to some charts, of course, in a moment. I'll just kick this off just really quickly here. Just going over into this website here. Today being Thursday, the 19th, we did have unemployment claims that came out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So that was about 25 minutes ago, give or take. That's already out. Markets are already moving. Markets are down. We'll get to the charts in a moment here. We also have other things in the background, of course, with what's going on globally. We do have a 10 a.m. Eastern, I will say. Well, we skip over the euro, but we do have the ECB monetary policy. The U.S. Did ours yesterday. Jerome Powell kept rates essentially the same. And, markets kind of fell down, yesterday, kind of unraveled to the down. We'll get to the charts. We do have new home sales at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not much of an impact there. There's a lot more other things that are, I'd say, more serious in the backdrop versus something like new home sales. But yeah, it is a news announcement hit that could potentially provide some kind of movement after 30 minutes after the open. And I'll switch over here. After that, I'll just go straight to the source here. Started this session a couple more minutes later than what I actually wanted here. So I'll try to pick up some speed. All right. And, just kind of getting some process and system here. We got, this is a document I bring up every single morning. Okay. IOF, institutional demand and supply, is going to be how markets work, just how they work. And that's how the main backdrop of, or the main strategy of what we trade at Phantoms, top-down multiple time frame analysis approach. You're going to see three major colors on my charts, essentially orange, yellow, blue. Orange color code is going to be monthly time frame. And I got a monthly time frame on the left. So I am going to spend a bit more time, even during this pre-market prep team, on the higher time frames, even mentioning the monthly time frame, this November low. Okay, so anything that you do see in the color code orange is a monthly time frame association. Okay, weekly time frame color code is going to be yellow. Okay, so for example, last week's high, last week's low, highlighted in yellow. For example, color code blue is going to be a daily time frame. Okay, so yesterday's high, yesterday's low, for example, is going to be highlighted there in blue. So monthly, weekly, daily, orange, yellow, blue, focusing on the higher time frames no matter what, even if you are a very short-term trader. We have a bunch of candlesticks here. There's a bunch of fancy names. However, we got context and location being more important here. So these are going to be candlestick prints that we're going to be looking for looking for in the context of uptrend, structure uptrend, okay, at demand levels. We also have bearish candlesticks here. Everything's the same, just opposite. In that context, location is still going to be key here. You're going to be looking for these candlestick prints, at supply levels, preferably in the context of downtrends and lower low high structures. I do kind of, I should mention this too, even on YouTube here, it's recommended to kind of wear headphones, bad words may get said there, okay? So, protect your environment there. We got 5 Fundamental Truths of the book, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, a must pick up read book. Rule number 1, anything can happen at any time. Rule number 2, you don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. 3, random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. An edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. So this is what we're in search for as traders, being patiently waiting for high probability setups to set up, and then we execute them with planned managed risk. And if we're wrong, we cut out of that risk if we're proven wrong. Okay, and if we're right, we manage that reward and try to ride winners as much as the market. Ride as much as you can. Ride winners, cut losers is a big phrase that you must understand as a professional trader. Number 5, every moment, I always say that wrong. Every moment in the market is unique. We also have a footnote from our member from Phantoms. Don't be a you-know-what right there. Okay, this business, you got to have some thick skin in this business. 2 actions, buys and sells, demand and supply. However, there's 4 kind of dynamics how that works. You got to know the difference here. You can be a buy to enter. We were just kind of actually talking about this in a lesson that we had with the Phantoms members yesterday, actually, right? So regarding futures. So buying to enter, okay, an accumulation. Now you are a willing market participant. As a willing seller, you have to sell to exit. If you buy to enter, you're bullish and the markets are violating your bullish setup, you have to sell to exit to realize your loss, as you should. However, you can also sell short to enter, which is an accumulation order. And now you are a market participant as a willing buyer to distribute, to cover, to exit for profit and or loss. So if you sell short, you want the market to go down. Okay, if it's going down, well, you'd buy to cover to realize your gain. If it's not going down and it's going up and it's going against you and violating your setup, we have to buy to cover to exit. We break this down into quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. This sheet is available for people in the for Phantoms members. Yes, indeed. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, DJ Nerve. Break it down into 1, 2, 3, and 4 quadrants. 3 and 2 quadrants are connected as an uptrend here. 1 and 4 are connected as a downtrend here. And we go through this whole process. We go auto regression, mean reversion, liquidity style of trading, and focusing on the right side and ride. This is definitely well beyond the scope of time that we have today to explain that. Henceforth, we have time allocated for kind of class time to learn that. This is the time where we trade live and apply these particular setups. I'm going to start out with the futures here, going straight to the charts now. It's time for that. And, like I mentioned, usually I'll stay on, this is think or swim. I trade options on think or swim here, stock and options on think or swim. And usually I'll stay on the darker background here, but I do, as mentioned, want to spend some time on kind of a cleaner background here. I want to just map out a couple of key simple levels here on the higher time frames as I get over in to the ES and the NASDAQ. We can even cover some gold and oil as well, futures. We can even cover that, but I'll start here just really quickly. I get the S&P on a daily time frame on the upper left. I get the NASDAQ on a daily time frame upper right. Dow Jones lower left. And we get the Russell 2000 on the bottom right. And right now as we speak, S&Ps are down about 0.8%. Oh, that's Donnie. That's my man Donnie right there. Is that Donnie? DJ Nerve? Is that Donnie footnote? Let's go, brother. We got NASDAQ upper right, negative 90%. We got Dow Jones lower left. Okay, it's down 0.78%. Right now, as we speak, we got Russell 2000 on the weaker index, at least at the moment right now. But usually we're going to be mainly focusing on the S&P and the NASDAQ. Okay, so this is kind of where I'll kind of go into this. And, here's the current price. And, we're down 0.8%. Okay, so yesterday, it was kind of choppy a little bit there in the morning. Nothing crazy, about 40 minutes, give or take, 30 minutes after the open. It was kind of choppy. We ended up breaking down yesterday with a beautiful kind of walk down. Ended up being a nice little unravel day as Jay Powell took the podium and markets kind of closed on lows. Okay, now this is the current candle here today. And basically what we're going to be looking for here is we have to look for what's below. Okay, we're going to map out our Globex high, Globex low in a moment. I'm going to keep the chart fairly clean and go over to the gray chart on TradingView. Okay, now I have a couple of these levels mapped out. I got a weekly low here, 65.83, and I got this monthly low here at 65.25. And we're also going to reference just yesterday's high as well up here, which is 6,800. Okay, so this chart has a lot of notes on it, etc. And as I keep mentioning, let me just go to it now. Looking at the time, we got to push forward here. I got the S&P futures here. I have a monthly time frame here. Okay, monthly time frame here on the left, and I have a weekly time frame on the right. Okay, and what we want to look for is, as we're potentially dropping down, I want to look for some key levels that we could potentially be looking out for in the event that we drop down. Okay, if we are short and riding the shorts, we want to take some profit, but also, just being aware of the higher time frames and levels that we're coming into. Okay, we don't want to make sure that we're getting too bearish. If we are bearish, we don't want to chase price down at the too far lows. Okay, so if I could try to keep this as simple as I possibly can, as the weekly time frame here is on the right. If prices, or if markets were to continue to go down, okay, we have last week's low. Okay, last week's low right here, represented by that yellow line. You might want to write this down if you don't have it. 65.8450. Okay, 65.8450, and that's what this price point is here. Okay, why is this important? Well, this would be a last week's low. Below this low, this could be an area, okay, where if we are short, we'll be taking some profit, okay, realizing some gain. And this could also be an area where we could potentially have a bit of a bounce out of this area, at least at a minimum. Okay, now the next level below that, okay, on the higher time frames, is going to be this November low. And this is going to be, I'm not sure if it's going to hit today or if it even is going to, if it is going to hit, but this is something that I would prepare for down here potentially, where we have this November low, which is the S&P futures right now, coming in at the 65.25 price point, which I have labeled right there. Okay, so the only two levels that we have on a higher time frame, last week's low and November's low, these are going to be two major key price points there. There's other things that we'll be looking at here, but I just want to emphasize these two key levels there. Now, right below this November low, one of the things that I also have my eye on as well, again, I'm not sure if it's going to happen today, but you always just want to prepare for these type of things, is we also do have an basing impulse and IBI demand zone right below this November low as well. Again, I'm on the S&P weekly time frame here on the right. Okay, and there's a weekly low located in this as well. So if you've ever gone through, even if you've gone through some of the boot camps that we even have just for free on YouTube, Mr. Black goes through, does a good job showcasing how this IOF levels work, right? So we have this impulse basing impulse. This is a weekly low. Inside of it, impulse basing impulse IBI, okay, below this November low. Now we're, several hundred points, a couple hundred points away from that right now. Okay, so I'm not sure if I see it all the way down there today. Okay, but you never know. Volatility is starting to pick up a little bit there. It's been elevated. We'll talk about the VIX in a moment. Okay, but the price point on this is going to be 64.80. All right. And again, I'm not going to emphasize this one too much, okay, as we got some things to clear before we get down there. Okay, but monthly, weekly, and we have another weekly there. Now, if I did drop down below a weekly and a monthly, and I did look at the daily, well, if I look at the daily, this is a daily time frame here now. On the right, of course, you can see the futures are down. And if I look down to the left, okay, we do have this Monday's low, which is highlighted there in blue, 67.07, give or take. Okay, and so one of the things here today, one of the things you have to watch out for, anytime the news is like super negative and things like that, you just have to watch out for where markets open up. Okay, you can potentially have a rip your kind of a rip your face rally off there. So we do have a daily low, okay, below where we are trading at right now. Okay, and this is the weekly low, and of course the weekly time frame is going to be a bit more powerful than the daily low there. Okay, so you want to just put this on the board. I say 66.07 in the S&P futures. Okay, but emphasis on the 65.84 for the potential weekly low sweep there. Okay, yesterday's high up there, right up there. So we would have to rally all the way up there to get into this level here. But that's one thing that we can reference. I'm also just going to drop down, since I'm here on this chart and I'm looking at the time, I'm also just going to draw out the Globex high, Globex low just on this chart here really quickly. And even in TradingView here, this in Thinkorswim, and even in TradingView, and most platforms, they'll color code the overnight session. Okay, so this little kind of darker, kind of gray or bluish here is color coded. I'm sure you have a different color on your charts as well. Okay, but one of the first things that we want to do here is, well, in addition to mapping out monthly, weekly, daily levels, etc., above and below us, is map out where the Globex high is. Okay, and this is where we have the overnight high or the said Globex high team. All right, and so usually I'll keep that color like kind of like a blue like that. That might be hard to see, so I'll kind of darken that up just a little bit. Might be better there. That's the Globex high, overnight high. Here's the Globex low, the overnight low. Right now, we're still working on that right now as we just put in this low right now. Now, IOF levels below the Globex low. Well, we have this daily low that I just kind of mentioned there. We also have this weekly low. Okay, now this is a drop. This is a basing. This is a rally. And this is already kind of a test right here. We actually already had that already kind of planned out. I don't want to rabbit hole right now, but that kind of worked out pretty nicely there. So if we do come back down here again, this could be the second test of this area here. Okay, and the more times it gets tested, okay, the less reliable that it becomes as the demand and supply equation is decreasing. Okay, but I want to reference below this Globex low. This would be the daily low. Okay, but I'm going to be really emphasizing, as I keep mentioning here, that weekly low there. Okay, don't forget about that monthly low at the 65.25 level. Okay, so this could be areas here where we can have, if short, we'll take some profit. I'll make a note of that. Okay, shorts, meaning bearishness, we have to take profit, some at least. This could also be an area where we can have what's called a G trap long or bullish. All right, trapping people who are chasing price on new lower lows, okay, at higher time frame liquidity sweep levels. Okay, now up here would be a bit more aggressive. Okay, so if you're looking at, say, the 6,600, that would be just a bit more aggressive if you're comparing it to the weekly level down in here. Okay, but you can definitely also take this as a potential G trap as well. Maybe I'll put the font a little bit lower. It might be hard to see there, so I'll make this font a little bit bigger, and just to kind of emphasize that the lower one would be a bit better, okay, on that weekly low sweep as opposed to the daily Monday's low sweep here. Again, we got some demand levels. You got a demand level right in here as well. Okay, so we are on lows right now. One of the things we have to be just concern ourselves with this morning is, on these equal to or new lows, we're on a new low segment. So just watch out for a corrective structure move at some point today. Okay, now above the Globex high, what's going on, T-Way? Above, I think that's T-Way. Yeah, that is T-Way, my man. What's going on, Tammy? Good morning. Good morning. We got Globex high here, okay, and above Globex high, yesterday's drop did leave a couple of levels here, okay, in regard to supply above the Globex high, and so kind of mapping these levels out. We have one that's all the way up here. I'm also you can kind of map out this one here. There's a drop, a basing, and a drop. We got a flip area here, okay. So this is going to be some supply above the Globex high, okay, that would need to be absorbed. Right, the setup is making sure that we are either above or below the Globex high. Okay, so this is going to be an area where, if we happen to rally and if we're long, okay, if long, okay, we're going to TP from longs here, TP longs, and this could be areas where we can take what's called a G trap short. All right, so this would be great for shorting if we were to rally up, breaking this supply, breakout traders breaking above the Globex high, potentially into a level of supply. Okay, that could be a G trap, a short area for potentially today. That price point comes in what called 67.30, give or take, rounding. Okay, all right, 67.28, 25 will be better, I guess, and put it there. All right, as we rally up, breaking, so Dragon Man, if we rally, this would be dropping down, getting long, as trapping people who are chasing price lower into demand. So that would be a bear trap up here. people who are trying to buy late up here into supply above, taking out a Globex high, for example, breakout above Globex high, which is the first supply zone above the Globex high level here. That would be trapping the bulls up here. Okay, that's all. We talk a little bit more about that, of course, within the Phantoms group. Have some classes. We got 15 minutes before the market opens, so just got to try to do my best here to cover as much as I can. Moving on to the NASDAQ, because market's opening in 15 minutes. If I just do the same process here, just really briefly, but I want to emphasize the higher time frames. The higher time frames. So here's the current price of the NASDAQ. I got a weekly time frame here on the right. I got a monthly time frame on the left. Okay, now this is November's low right here. Okay, so you might want to get this price point here. If you look at November's low, that comes in at 23,904. Okay, so even if I just put a text note on that, this is a monthly November month low. Okay, that's key because in the Phantoms group will know about this. Okay, monthly timeframes are super important because those are going to be the areas where we have the most liquidity sweeps, where big banks, institutions have their orders, okay, wrapped around these levels there for the ultimate traps, if you will. Not really a trap, but it's just the way the liquidity works. I don't have enough time to explain that. 15 minutes in. We also have this weekly low here, of course, last week's low, which we can't just bypass. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to get down there, but that's an even smooth 24K, the NASDAQ futures here. Okay, so again, just mapping out monthly, weekly, daily levels below. Whoops, that was wrong. Bring that back. A smooth 24K. Forgot to add a 0. There it is. Okay, just last week's low. There, I guess I can make a note here real quick. All right, that's hard to see. I'll make that a bit bigger there. Great. Okay. Daily time frame. Just dropping down on daily, just really quickly here. Okay, we have Monday's low here. Okay. Thing about NASDAQ too is this is the February's low, but it's already kind of been snapped and broken. We can keep that still on the board here, but usually what I'll do is I'll just kind of like break that line to know that we kind of broke that. And so, if we do break below, right below yesterday's low on the NASDAQ, we do have a monthly low that's been tagged already and kind of swiped through. Okay, there goes your monthly liquidity sweeps there. I'm not sure if it's going to happen again here today. Okay, but that's the daily low, 24,280 right there, NASDAQ futures. Right below last week's low in this monthly low. We have a couple of daily lows in here as well. There is impulse IBIs right below November low as well. So again, just kind of preparing that. Not sure we're going to get all the way down there today. Okay, but Phantoms members who are trained, they know how to operate and execute off those lows down in there. Yesterday's high all the way up there, which essentially tested a weekly high up here. Yesterday, okay, and we're all the way up there. I'm not sure if we're going to get up there today, but if I drop down to just a 1 hour time frame to kind of zoom in and zone out a little bit, I zoom in a bit on the smaller time frames. Here's our Globex high here, and I'll make this blue. We're on Globex lows right now as we speak. All right, above the Globex high, we're going to have 2 supply levels here. All right, I'll just kind of combine these. 24,850, call it. This could be a G-trap short. All right. Below price. All right, we got the see that little. I already saw this morning in the NASDAQ. We do have this bit of an impulse right here. Okay, and that's below yesterday's low, and it is also a February low break. But those monthly zones are powerful. So if you want to be a little more aggressive, there's a little guy right there that comes in at about 24K 240. Okay, but again, emphasizing the last week's low and monthly low. This is going to be a nice little sweet spot potentially today, right below last week's low down in here. Okay, so this could be an aggressive The upper one here is aggressive G-trap bullish. All right, I'll make a note on there. So this could be what's called a G-trap bullish. All right, this one has an asterisk, up an asterisk on it. This is a little bit more aggressive, still decent level. All right, but this one down here, G-trap bullish, okay, below this weekly low, 24K. Okay, don't forget about the monthly low, 23,904. This one, it won't be as aggressive. Okay, this one would be higher. Okay, probability. Question is, are we going to get there? You're going to prepare, right? There's other things that we'll do off the. There's other things that we'll do off the open. All right, but again, just mapping out the levels above and below our Globex high and low. Emphasis on the higher time frames. Okay, the reason why I like this little level right there, impulse, basic impulse on a 60-minute time frame, is because it's below a Monday's daily low there. Okay. All right, I gotta keep this moving here, and I wanted to get through kind of even gold and oil. Anybody slam gold short overnight? I love gold. Caught a little scalpy scalp this morning, a couple hours ago, but I got monthly here, weekly here, daily here, right? Monthly, weekly, daily. So gold's pulling back a lot more aggressive here now. Emphasize this last month's February low today, okay, which comes in 44.23. Okay, so you might want to write that down as last month's low, 44.23. Monthlies are coming into play potentially on today's session on a couple of products. So that is typically good times. That's typically good times because you get movement. Okay. Right. There's also a weekly low in there as well. All right. Right below that monthly low. Okay. You do have a daily demand zone here as well. We can maybe write this down 43. Okay. 50 handle. Okay. 43.50 handle below that monthly low. This could be the area potentially where we get deeper into some weekly demand and into this 43.50 handle below that 44.23. Okay. Another thing as well to note, I love to, longer term and swing trade gold. I do need some day trading. I got a couple of scalps here this morning, just trying to scalp, before this session here. But the weekly level of demand, it might be hard to see here because there's a lot of lines. I know it's kind of annoying, but you might want to write this down. There's an impulse, basic impulse, okay, on a weekly time frame here, comes in at 42, call it 42.50 handle. All right, so that is, I'm going to try to stick out as much as I possibly can. This is also going to be confluenced with the 200 pair moving average on the daily time frame here on the right. Okay, so I'm going to map that out in yellow. Okay, and this price point of 42, call it 50 handle here in gold futures. Okay, this could be a nice area for not only day, but a potential swing trade as well. Okay, 42.50. Okay, that's going to be below last month's low here. There's a couple levels still inside of that. I'm not sure if we're going to get down there today, but look at I didn't expect this thing to drop that fast. Yeah, I guess you can expect that because of what's going on in the world. But anyways, we got to move on. We got 8 minutes. Two key points here. 42.50, not bad. I would even potentially suggest to put some limit orders in there, set and forget that bad boy, and see if markets can take you to debt. All right. If you're going to be a little bit more active in trading today, this morning, emphasize that monthly 44.25 with that daily low 43.50 as well. All right, so we got a couple hundred points there potentially, but we got some nice confluence and high probability setups there at that 42.50 as we are coming deeper into a prime level on weeklies, which we haven't hit yet. Okay, below a monthly low. We also have another monthly low right there as well. Okay, and we have that 200 pair moving average on the daily time frame there as well. All right, so just watch out. Don't chase price lower now on gold. Globex high, Globex low. I'm not sure if we're going to get all the way back above the Globex high today. All right, but if you wanted to kind of engage gold, on a shorter time basis here to the bear downside. Okay, there's a VWAP right there in that white dash line. I'm just on a 30-minute time frame here. We do have a little bit of a drop-based drop right here. Call it 47.50. This might be a nice little place area today for engaging some kind of bearish trade as we rally up into this level, at least for the pre-market prep. This is not a Globex trap. All right, it's just kind of your classic IBI drop, a basing, and a drop. All right, price points, 47, 45, give or take. All right, and I would suggest to not put your stop loss right above that top wick right there on that basing candle. All right, give yourself some space. This is the wide range bar breakdown bar, so usually I like to even cover that space right there. Okay, so stop loss would be somewhat placed up here above that breakout bar there. There's the basing, there's the drop. Okay, so this would be area of like stop loss. All right, 48, call it 48, call it 30 handle. All right, be a decent little place to engage. So not bad. We got retracement rally up into some supply and or monthly low sweep at 44.23. All right. I distributed a lot. I got like a couple of runners on, but I dropped my size extremely. I did it a lot there because I wanted to make sure that I'm focused on you folks in here today. We got 5 minutes before open, so I got to kind of push this forward. Definitely not going to be enough time to cover everything that we cover in here. All right, I'm going to switch over here. Just put a daily time frame here on the right. Switches over here, just weekly on the left. And VIX, I got to check the VIX next. We got to go over the VIX. VIX up 7%. So far pre-market, we're painting at 27 VIX. Shit is kind of hitting the fan over there overseas with the world. Kind of crazy. World's in a crazy state right now, right? God bless the world. Wherever you are, doesn't matter. Man, God bless it, right? Geez. But staying focused on what we got to do here today. The thing you need to know about VIX: VIX up, market down; VIX down, market up. So it's going to be opposite correlation. Okay, opposite correlation. So just mapped out overnight high, overnight low in the S&Ps, NASDAQ. Didn't quite do it that much in the gold futures, but just kind of push forward here. There's the overnight high in VIX. Here's the overnight low in VIX. And again, if this VIX continues to not only just spike up, but remain up and kind of trending up, okay, that could be more bearish for the market. Okay, so VIX up, market down. However, if the VIX swipes down, and not just a spike down, but we spike down and we kind of start to begin to trend down or lower, okay, that could be more bullish for the market, right? You might have a bounce. Okay, so if, I map out the overnight high, overnight low, kind of put a pin on that and want to see how this continues to trend or not, what it's going to be doing as a gauge. And I kind of pinned last time I saw it there, so I can just kind of stay tuned and update with the VIX. In order before I take a trade, I'm always checking what the VIX is doing, no matter what. 3 minutes before open. Would you love to see a major bull run after all the dust settles from all the chaos in the markets like last year? Yeah, this is nothing like last year so far. With the tariffs, but yeah, I'm kind of, every year you gotta, as a trader, and I've been doing this a long time, you gotta kind of be patient for if we get a bigger correctional move. That's probably not a discussion. There's a time and place for everything, and that's my man Donnie Footnote right there. He's a member, so we'll probably have a chat about that. I mention it here and there, but we're sub 6% off highs right now, 5.5%. Okay, even if we kind of drop below this November low, that's now we're talking maybe 6-7%. But you always want to just be aware of a 10% risk profile drop. Okay, so I think one of our members, Matthew, was asking me about this yesterday in terms of like how you can handle a long-term portfolio and long-term stocks, and usually every year traders will kind of lighten up their portfolio to see if we can kind of drop below, to see if we can get a drop down and some quote unquote lower price, okay, to long-term invest in. So that's one of the things I'm waiting for, to see if we can continue. Recently, even with all this turmoil that's going on in the world right now, the markets have been, at least for right now, okay, resilient. Okay, we've been tracking the VIX and things like that, but it's been so far resilient. Okay, it looks terrible here this morning a little bit here, but we have to put that into perspective as well. And my Phantoms group will know we have these, these drops. We have these November's low, September's low. Okay, and you think the market's just going to crash there, and then all of a sudden you come into a monthly low. Okay, and then you get like a rip your face rally out. Okay, so for a long-term investment, you'd probably kind of need some bigger correctional move. Okay, 5% is not that much for big money to be like, okay, let's go. I don't care. I'm getting it. If we get a 20% correction, people are going to be getting in on that correctional move, right? Scared money is going to be scared out, and then the professional is going to be starting to dump in as they're going to be reloading their portfolio at a 20% drop. For example, I'm not sure that's going to happen, okay? But that was one of the examples that we had last year, okay? I was even expecting a bit of a more drop last year, but I was being a little bit too conservative there. But that was the time to do that. We got some nice trades off of that long-term portfolio, etc. This year, we'll see if we can get more of a drop here as well. All right, we'll see. Right now, we're only running about a 5 to 6. Even if we touch these November lows, a 7% correction, which is, I'm not saying that's not small. I mean, that's too small, but usually you'd be waiting for a little bit more of a bigger one there. All right, I definitely don't have enough time as the bell is about to ring in 15 seconds. Usually what I would do here is, so we're just going straight to the tape, but as the bell is going to ring, but usually I go over some market maker gamma exposure. I just do want to take a peek here. I'm not going to have time to explain this. I usually go over some inside outside gaps as well on the mag 7. But the bell just rang here. Let's see. So move down, gap down. And we got 64.50s down here. Just looking for some positive gamma down in here. Let me switch this over. Check some internals. Be aware of these monthly lows in here, team. It's probably a daily VWAP. So most things, of course, gapping down. Let's get a quick peek at internals real quick here. Sure, we might be at extremes on a lot of things here. Fast decline, Valdi, VVIX up, Valdi lower, -3. Terrific, it'll take. VIX on an uptick. All right, Tesla actually has a massive breakaway gap here. The only challenge with that is we are coming up and testing a weekly low, so I got to be a bit more careful. But it is a breakaway gap off the 200. Mags are a bit heavy. Mags breakaway, equal weighted. Hey, what's going on, Julie Wood? Hopefully you're well. Julie Wood, let's go. Of course. Watch out for a rip your face rally, folks. Be patient. First 2 minute bars, essentially. Oh, wide range, yeah, wide range bar lower. All right, NASDAQ is weaker. This could be a low risk trade shot right here. Okay, we do have VIX off the highs. Okay. This is not the greatest 2 minute bar print here, but it's extremely low risk at the moment here. So I'm going to take a shot here real quick. I'm going to get long puts or short QQQs. Okay, if you buy a put, it's bearish. All right. I'm going to lean against that first opening bar print here. All right, so it's going to be bearish. Yeah, do you think, Julie? Do you think? It's good to see you. Hopefully you will. Hopefully you will. That's what's most important. It will be also important if Thinkorswim here wants to work here. There we go. January 19th, this is 0 DTE here. We have to watch out if this 2 minute bar gets taken out. We have to be a bit cautious on this. And, and I get the S&Ps flat at the moment. Okay. VIX is off its highs. But, we got, I'll do a 30 delta here, give or take. So, we're trading 588. So, I'll go 3 points out of the money, nothing too crazy here. I'll pick up the 585. These put options are going for about $1.70. All right. So I'm going to get in this here. Now, I should be showing you, let me show you the risk on this. me just lock it in this account here real quick. I'm going to copy and paste this code here. Copy this code of the option. This is the 585 put on QQQs that I'm looking to buy that I just bought on this account. All right, I'm going to put that right here. All right, now if this 2-minute bar print negative doesn't work out, okay, you're probably looking at maybe, you know, stop if you buy these for about $1.75 right now. All right, you put a stop loss here. I'm going to give it a little space, you know, maybe like $1.20 here. So you're probably risking about anywhere between 60, 70 cents, give or take on this, just to kind of show you the risk on this. Okay, so this is a bought put on Qs, which is going to be bearish. $5.85 strike. All right. All right, so cover some risk there, and you know, low risk entry. And you know, if this fails, then you know, we'll take it from there. All right, so red or sells, or bearishness, I should say. So just to make a note, bought 5.85 put strike. When you buy a put, you're bearish. All right, so there's the opening bar print there on the 2-minute time frame. So even if we just kind of swipe even new lows right here, all right, we can go on a quick little TP. If we get that, let's see, spies. Most of the Mag 7, you know, gapping down. I'm just kind of overarching it in the Qs. All right, now the S&Ps are, you know, down as well, but I'm going to keep S&Ps a bit flat at the moment right now, because in the event that we do kind of reclaim it back above opening bar print, above VWAP there, I'm not going to get super excited about that, but that could be something that if the NASDAQ is wrong, okay, there might be a quick little trade here, because, you know, off the open here today, you know, the average person is going to be looking to try to, of course, get short. I just took a little bit of a low risk trade on that, and if it doesn't work out, I want to keep something flat there in the event for me to potentially flip. All right, let me see if we can continue here. Apple. It's too slow. Move it over here. WM on this 200. Tesla did follow through a bit there. Tesla did follow through. Not so much, but yeah, and this, we're on the 200 period moving average on the Qs. All right. So on the daily, we're on the 200 period moving average on the daily time frame of Qs. So, you know, that's a thing, team. You know, that might provide just some kind of pushback to the upside. And again, if you want to sell short, you know, you kind of want it to rally so we can kind of get up into some supply. We are on, you know, equal to, or we're on a new lower low here. Okay. So, we have this thing with the liquidity map here. So we're on new low. So you just have to be, I've still got those cues, but just be cautious of a potential rally up here. All right. As, we're on lows. All right. But the 200 period moving average on the cues is literally a thing there. All right. So keeping that risk exposure light, at least right now, is a move down, red bar, gap down into the 200 period moving average. All right, you can see the cues are a little getting faded here. All right, it's noteworthy. All right, so I know that. All right, almost getting stopped out there. But we have some stop loss. All right, we haven't broke the opening range here. Or opening bar. All right, VIX. VIX is off its highs. Man, if Tesla wasn't the weekly low, Tesla does have this wide range bar off open. It is a breakaway gap here. Some of the weaker ones today. Yeah, somewhat. NVIDIA as well. Tesla could have a bit of some opportunity here. We got the wide range bar here. We're battling its VWAP at the moment. You can see the cues are taking a clip. We haven't just broke the opening bar print just yet. All right, so what I'm going to do is just have to watch out for a trap right above the opening print here. But I'm going to get long SPY here. Looks like I'm going to pick up the 660 strike calls here. All right, so those cues are going to be stopped out. All right, the 200 period moving average. All right, so we're going to get out of the cues. Okay, make sure you stop out. Could be a bit of a right above that high. Just to watch out for a trap. There we go. VIX off its lows. All right, but I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get some spice. All right. So out of the cues, that's wrong there. And then SPY 660 strike call here, 30 delta. All right, just executed that. Let me get it on this account here. This is the 660 strike call. SPYs, SPY. And the biggest risk on this is going to be if we just, as we kind of are working on the opening day's range, at least at the moment, usually the first 15 minutes, if it's going to be a bit choppy and annoying. It's kind of like that yesterday. This is the 660 call. This is a long call, which is bullish. I'm just staying tight to the tape. Just staying tight to the tape. So right above there, we can see, I mean, I have no problem re-engaging this if it breaks back down below VWAP there, but just controlling my risk exposure there. So and then we got, so that was just the cues there. I'm not sure if we're going to get faulted on this, but this is the long call. 660 strike, right? And I know it sounds kind of annoying now, you know, the first 15 minutes is in, I guess. So, you know, this is kind of like the opening day's range here, if you will, you know. So we'll see. Again, the risk on this is that we just kind of like chop around. I know yesterday, first like 40 minutes was super kind of annoying, choppy, just wasn't really moving that much. But then we ended up breaking down nicely and following through here. All right. Still early. We'll see how things unravel. Keeping risk fairly controlled here. NVIDIA put, you know, that's the thing with these markets at the moment, at least, you know, we are gapping down and moving down, but we got like, you know, some weekly lows, you know, so the VIX is going to be key. If you look at the VIX bar right now, candle it is, I mean, VIX is only up about, even though this is a pretty decent gap down, you know, the VIX is only up about 5.5%. You know, you'd expect the VIX to be up a bit more on this bigger move down here, but you know, VIX is off its highs. VIX is off its highs. You know, just to be a little, have to be aware of that, at least for now. But yeah, if you got like NVIDIA puts, you know, just make sure you're taking profit diligently in the event that we make it, you know, equal to or a new lower low. Right now we have a lot of gap downs but fade ups at the moment, at least. Hey, what's going on, Quality Transportation? Good to see you, brother. Hopefully you're well. All right. And, you know, we're floating around the daily 200 period moving average on indexes. So, again, that's the thing, y'all. Apple a little sneaky bullish. All right, you look down to the left too, folks, right? You know, it is a demand level, you know, so that's all I'm saying. Just try not to get, you know, trap chasing price too low there. All right, we'll see. We're still kind of shopping around opening day's range. We are still below VWAP on futures. Let's see, Tesla. Kind of annoying how everything's kind of coming down in it to a level, and VIX is not screaming at the moment. Meta actually giving us Meta actually trying to this one might look like it will be one that may be the bearish exposure team if you want there, right? So I cut the Qs. I'm long S&Ps. Meta would be one that you could potentially pin. We got new highs on SPYs. All right, so we can, begin a TP. All right. So, not a lot there, but maybe TP a bit, some there. I need a little bit more of a push if we can even get that. All right, so we'll see. Here's some TPs up here. All right, here we go. That's getting better a bit there. Why did that right sideways? I don't know. Not important. All right, we can go a bit of a TP campaign here on the SPY. Make sure you cut those Qs, right? All right, just taking some profit here on the SPY long call. I didn't cover the Q put just yet, but just kind of getting started here. Not a lot to write home about there. But there's profitability there nonetheless. And I didn't want to get caught. I don't want to get caught there. All right, another quick little new high there. VIX off lows, right? All right, so VIX down, market up, VIX up, market down. These premiums are going to be hard to print here on calls. We would need kind of a bigger rip up. But it's a long day, folks. So, just make sure you're distributing appropriately. I need a bigger move than that. But just controlling some risk. All right, let's check. Apple with a little sneaky, little sneaky bullish trade there. Red bar takeout here. I don't know if anybody snagged that one. So it's like these weekly lows, right? Last week's low. Amazon, we gapped down, but look at the weekly low. So again, you can't think and feel too much, but it could just be a rally in the morning, and later in the afternoon it could reach some supply levels, and right. So you just got to trade the levels. Right now we're above VWAP and above daily VWAP. Buyers are in control, at least for right now at the moment. Good job, Bobby Malika. Yeah, decent scalp on SPYs, but took a quick little small loss on need some more on Qs. We took a loss, so took a quick little loss there. That trade was kind of like a 2-minute wide range bar open lower, kind of a thumb on the pulse trade. because I want to work a side, the right side, and ride. I do got SPYs kind of clicking into a new high, Q's new high here. Not much, but still early. All right. So nice little time to maybe distribute. I don't know how many contracts you folks got left on, if you still have it on, but I still have some on here, so I'm just going to TP some more here from the SPY long call. Yeah, let's go, brother. It's good to see you, man. I know that you will be good. Quality transportation. I know that you'll be good in any endeavor that you do. Retesting last week's low, gap down below that. This is a retest on the other side. So if you did manage to, maybe you're long NASDAQ or the Qs versus, say, the S&P. Make sure you TP some there. All right. Now, albeit very small time frame, we get the S&Ps are just a bit more stronger. They're both down, S&Ps and NASDAQ, but S&Ps are just a little bit stronger. Nothing too crazy to write home about there. So I'll leave, which is ironic because actually the NASDAQ is actually touching a last week's high retest up here versus the S&Ps are not. So off the open, S&Ps are just a little bit more stronger off the open, but it's actually holding up a little bit there in the NASDAQ. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that just really quickly, first bar print there, right? NASDAQ tried to work on that, did not make no new low from the opening bar print. Then we ripped up, right? And then we made a new higher high. I had to get stopped out of the Qs there. Then we corrected here, and then now we're making a higher high. So, albeit it's only 9:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay, very early, but right, and this is daily VWAP. But right now, what is the structure of at least the S&P on a regular trading hour session, at least at the moment? Higher, higher, lower, 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 high. Okay, so you got to respect daily VWAP. If the VIX continues to look at the VIX, it's kind of a doji bar, right? So the VIX kind of still remains, the way it is now, where it's not rallying up as much anymore, and it even maybe turns red on day, and this market is still continuing to be above its daily VWAP. Okay, this is going to be the upward structure here. Okay, so for NASDAQ, if it's generally more weaker, you can work on what's called a front side short. That would have been right there, where right in here. All right. The next one is the February low up here. So if I did want to work on front side shorts on NASDAQ, this could be the next area here, where if we do get up here, this could be a bearish, vert trade. Okay. The S&Ps, or before I move on to the S&Ps, or a breakdown back below VWAP. We need structure to break, which starting to build a little structure here. Right, or the NASDAQ takes these green bars out here, preferably this is the breakout bar there. So I'd want to see a break in a close, red bar closing below this candle right there, below daily VWAP. That would be what's called a backside short. So this would be front side short. All right, now in the S&Ps, still holding, at least for right now, you'd have to take some risk on this, or of course, open up another ticket for risk. But if we drop down into VWAP here, okay, we can even place some limit orders in here right now. We could do even the same strike price, 660. And so even, for example, right now, these are probably a break even depending on what your average fill is. Okay, so I'm actually going to add right now into the 660, but I'm also going to put some limit orders in this as well, lower. But let me just I already have SPY here. I just added into the SPY, but this is not a VWAP test. But I'm going to grab some here. And we do have a positive COG right there. All right, we'll see. And so added to this. All right, and just how we're waiting for the NASDAQ to potentially hit a upper level and front side. If this market, so I'm also going to plan to see if we can try to take VWAP here, pull back into VWAP. That 2-minute positive COG there, we'll see. It should potentially provide some fall through here. Okay, so we can potentially go into TP, another round of TP campaign as we speak right now. All right, so there we go. There's a nice push. All right, there's a nice push. All right, hit it. These premiums are not really jumping that much here. Make sure you TP unload, especially if you add it to the S&Ps. Make sure you distribute there. So. What are we doing? We're trading stock options and futures. Live, baby. Stronger than ever 7. All right, long name there. Had to make sure I knew my vowels. This long is not super exciting. I'm not complaining, though. Let's get some limit orders above here to TP. Get some limit orders above here to TP, which means take profit. You can see the bullish trades right now it's super early still, but super kind of lethargic, if I'm using that word correctly. All right, I have limits up here to TP. Bobby Malik is bringing up a good point. Futures are coming into its VWAP. Yes, I do trade Forex. That's actually how I started my career trading Forex. I was actually talking a little bit about that in the trade room last week or two, give or take. But I'm more of a macro kind of longer term swing trader in Forex. I love positive swaps. But I started my career trading Forex. I still love Forex, don't get me wrong. There's some TPs just in the SPY. For what it's worth, just got some limit orders on up there. Not a lot in terms of premium pricing. Somebody did mention MU. It is one of the stronger ones. And yep, down right into the 20 EMA on a last week's high retest here. Not bad. Let me get the positive COG here. All right, so I'm going to just be aware of this VWAP tag. Vic still on lows, team. Anything change? We're in negative GAX. Has been seeking out positive gamma. We do have a 6630 here. Little blue node. Where is that confluence with the SPX? First 30-minute bar print. Doji bar, so it can lean against this. We're above VWAP. So again, we'll see. The 3630 SPX, little baby positive gamma node there. I'm going to put a red line there. To represent positive gamma as market makers would have to sell futures into this level. All right, represented by that red line right there. All right, so, like I mentioned already, a bit of a cleaner chart here, I guess, on the SPX, but right now we're still, this would still be holding this structure here, right? So all other things being equal here, what you have to try to control yourself with is, you just think it's market bad news everywhere, right? This market's going to go down, right? So every time it goes up, you think it's going to continue to go down. So just be careful with that, okay? You'll have a better trade if you're being patient for it and not taking a stop loss. And again, we already talked about the breakdown in NASDAQ if we get that. All right, so this is still going to be a bit of bullishness still if we're above this level and above daily VWAP here, okay? Now, if we do, I'm not sure if it's going to happen like this. I always get kind of cringed out when people start drawing fucking arrows like everywhere, but this would be the area here in the S&P where we have confluence with SPX gamma, okay, 6630. This would also be the retest at from last week's low, yesterday's low, gap down. So this could be the retest on the other side here, okay? So this could be an area where, okay, if we are, still long, and if we do get up there, of course, I'd want a TP, of course, right? From longs, and I might be able to get some ads down in here too if we kind of seeing if we can try to get a little bit lower here in specifically in this level here. I can potentially add more long calls, but this would be the area where I TP heavily on long calls, TP heavy from longs. And this could also be on the S&P where we could also have a a bearish setup, all other things being equal here. All right, and that comes in, how many points higher, give or take on the S. You just do the math here. S&P futures are priced 6644. This is 6591. So we have to go up 38 points. 44 plus 38. S&P futures 82. All right. Or we could just, I could have just did this. Duh. Maybe about right here. That level in the SPX was developed. I'm all over the place right now, man. Right before close, well, 350, give or take. About 82. Math is mathing. So that would literally be, now overnight we made a Globex high there. Okay, but this level right here is the SPX positive gamma node above. So about the 80, up into, the Globex high could be interesting in here. All right, so this 6680-ish, 6682-ish equals an ES. Add to SPYs here. It's not closed yet. I still want to see. I still want to see if we can get a VWAP tag. I'm not sure if we're going to get that. Add to SPYs. Added. Would have been better to get a limit order price there, but while I'm doing my work, I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt to see if we pull back to VWAP or not. But we got new highs already, okay, team? I'll come back to that. All right, now it's a TP order. It has some limits up here. So I literally added again here and already TP'd some from the original trade. All right. All right, nice little push. Not bad. Taking some off. Nothing crazy here. Joe Frank, how sexy would it be if we ride calls all the way back up for monthly mean revert vibes? Talking sexy to me, Joe Frank, babes. I like it a lot. All right, now that SPX positive gamma node, this is what we have above here, 6630. I was trying to, I'm not complaining at all. That was a nice little add there, NTP, just as I'm doing the work, still hitting those live trades there. And this is ES 6680, ES, which is our futures, right? But this 6680 price point is equivalent to, right, equal to the SPX positive gamma node of 6630 handle. Okay, now positive gamma, as we rally up to this positive gamma node, this is going to create market maker MM supply on the S&P futures and of course in the SPX at this level. All right, all other things being equal here. All right. And if I look at the price chart, team, I just switched over just to an hourly chart right now. I got a daily on the left. I got a 1 hour on the right here. Is that supply up here, team? Yes or no? Is that also a supply level? It might not be the greatest in the world here, but that is supply nonetheless, right? Does that make sense? All right. Now, if you notice, I'm not talking crap here, but anybody who would chase the price lower down here, shorting, is getting swiped a little bit there, right? Now, I am one of them because I went a bit short on the QQQs a little bit there with the plan of the wide range bar to fall through or not. Cut that out, got out, and then now, now we're picking it back up, and not Qs, but now I'm still continuing the process here to see what we're going to be doing if we can get potentially up into this level. So this, not shorting, chasing price on lows into demand. Somebody was asking that early this morning, right? What a G trap is, etc. Below that Globex low, okay. This is more. We're closer to demand down here than we are supply, okay. And I'm even telling you that I took a small little loss on the NASDAQ, okay, in that regard as kind of like a thumb on the pulse trade there, okay. I'm unbiased. I'm not going to fight that, okay. So I cut that out, flip long in the S&P, okay. Still trading here, still working it out here, and continuing to go on with the process here. Now we're kind of mean reverting a little bit. Okay, great. We'll see if we rally up in this area here. We have confluence for some supply. If we do make now an equal to or new lower low, this is I'm hoping recorded, right? Yeah. It should automatically upload to YouTube. I'm hoping it does if the settings didn't change. I could check on that. But if we do make a new equal to or new lower low, again, just reference that daily low 6607 and get the weekly low down here. I'm not sure if we're going to get all the way down there, but right now we're just on a nice little mean revert off the open here. All right, now you could jump in back into the S&P 660. I still got these on. Okay, TP some. You could add into the 660s if you want. You could also roll this, but I'll just keep it simple for right now. All right, I'll add into the 660s. VIX still kind of somewhat quiet, and you know what? I'll add right now in the 660s. But what I'll do here as well is I'm going to take a strike price lower, the 559, and put in a limit for that strike 559 strike call a bit lower. All right, I'm going to keep an eye on the VIX here. All right, hold on, let me put. So I just added here. And I'll just make a note here. Hey, yo, kids, man, what is going on, man? Yeah, no problem, drag on, man. Drag on. All right, literally added into the 660 here. All right. Now, if we drop a little bit deeper into VWAP, into this demand level, okay, the 660 strike, that is, I'm gonna look at the 559 strike call. All right, so I'm gonna right click, copy this code here. And bring it over to just kind of a blank chart. Put it on the left here. Now, these are going to be limit orders. All right, this is the 659 strike call. Okay. Now, if we price slice this, now remember I added to the 660 already, but if we say, okay, if we get down into the SPY, say 656, call it 90 area, right? 65690, 65670 area here on SPYs. $656.90. I'm putting this in the price slice here. 656. Let's go down a little bit in here to the 60, give or take, with some theta. I pinned, or let me pin the right one. I pinned, now I did, the 659 strike call. And what this is going to tell us is if we get down into a little bit lower into that daily VWAP, these this $147 premium price that's going for as the price right now, it'll be anywhere between 30 to, I'd say, even maybe $40. Anywhere between 25 to maybe 40, $45 cheaper. Okay, so you might be able to get these for like $1. You might be able to get these for like $1.10. We're already dropping somewhat into that right now, team. Okay, as you can see on the chart, not quite lower into there, but we do have a VWAP tag right there at the moment. The VIX is on a little bit of an uptick, but we have a VWAP tag. All right, so if you up for it, you could potentially get into that right now. This is a different strike price, so let me right click, but I'm going to put the limits in there at lower. Maybe like $1.10. You can even maybe grab some. I got it in right now. Well, let me get in this account. I'll go get some here. And if we kind of snag a bit below VWAP, you might be able to get these 659 strike calls for maybe like about $1.10, give or take. All right, so I'll put a limit order in at $1.10. Because I added already here, and even on the other one, I'll do a little more conservative here. And I'll put the other ad here at about 90 cents. All right. So this is a ad, kind of a roll ad. All right, long call. And these are going to be limits to add in here. All right, starting with the 110 premium price on the 659 strike. All right, so let me make a note here. Got long 559 strike call. Also have some limits lower at $1.10. And I think I put it at 0.90 cents, right? All right, on VWAP there. Meta, anybody snag Meta? That was more of one of the bear plays there, bearish plays. All right, we'll see. All right. Now, in addition to that, Magnificent 7 is getting a little heavy. You can go a little bit below VWAP. You got to stay strong there. We'll see. Now, as kind of working that backside on SPYs into VWAP, which we just kind of explained, didn't quite get up into our front side area there. All right, but if we start to get flat on Qs are relatively weaker. Okay, still. And so if we start to get a breakdown here, breaking a level, breaking, VWAP with some clear closes, etc. We're about to have another 13-minute bar print here. All right, still too early on that for right now. All right, but this would be the area where we have like what's called a backside short. All right, so you got to be a bit more patient, at least on that. What's your intraday bias, do you think? I don't think, Abdul. I'm trading VWAP. But VWAP is going to be the filter, I should say. All right. Like biases can change intraday, right? It could be bullish in the morning, bearish in the afternoon. You know, people wake up. I know you kind of want to have some kind of setup and, you know, a setup and, you know, an edge one way or the other. But you got to be careful with, okay, if you think it's going to be biased bullish or bearish, let's say you think it's going to be bearish, right? But the markets are trading higher, high, higher, low above VWAP all day. You're just getting faded all day, right? So you can have a bias, but if your bias gets violated and the markets are showing a different price action tape and price action, well, you can't listen to your own individual bias. You got to listen to what the markets are doing. All right. So right now, I got to work front side long SPYs, at least right now, until we break structure lower. Now, if we do break structure lower on Qs, I'm getting stopped out on SPYs, and I'll flip backside short on NASDAQ. All right. But we've been open for an hour, team. And, you know, if you can kind of make out what the candle is looking over here, we have a, you know, a gap down. We have a wick lower. We have a rally up, a wick higher. And right now we're doji bar. Okay. We're doji bar right now. And we're on VWAP. Okay. And this, you know, albeit we still have, at least right now, it could change, but right now we still have a higher high, higher low sequence of events. Okay. Until further notice. At least for now. Bearish entries on indexes at rallying up into supply. So in futures, you have to wait for it to rally up in supply. So that would be the 66.80, which I mentioned up here. I don't know, where's the notes? There it is. Or what I was just mentioning there in the on the NASDAQ, a breakdown of VWAP, lower low, lower high, below daily VWAP, which could be happening. We'll see. VWAP is volume weighted average price. All right, some of these things are getting filled here, I believe. All right, the buck 10s got filled here. Let me grab this in my other account. All right, have that open right here. The 659 long call limit order lower just got filled. All right, we kind of penetrated that zone a little bit deep. We'll see. Not just yet. Do we have VIX up on, you know, it is up a tick, but up a couple of ticks there. So you have to watch that. The 110 filled. There's still a limit here at 90. It's on premium price there. All right, we'll see. But right now it's a VWAP battle test right now. Usually there's a little fight here and there. And if, you know, if this gives out, we stop out. And this is what I was mentioning here. If we don't rally up into supply, this could be backside short over here. So we can prepare the Qs. And we do got VIX. See VIX, team? This is trying to make a bit of a push. All right. So that's telling there. So we get the Qs. Three minutes before this, the 30-minute bar closes. Now, the thing about this is around VWAP, you got to be cautious. We are closed below VWAP right now. I want to see this level get taken out. All right. So I'm not premature here. I didn't quite get the 60s there. I still have the 659 90-cent limits didn't get filled there yet. We'll see. Yeah, still, I gotta be a little cautious with those ads. If you want to cancel the risk on the long calls, you can at least cancel this limit order in there. All right, because we are below VWAP at the moment, so you could cancel these 90-cent limits in here. Okay, I just did that. So I just did that. So if you did that yourself, you know, you can potentially do that as well. So I still own these at 155, and I got in at $1.10. All right, these might be getting stopped out, however. All right. And I still have the 660s as well. All right. Not getting out of that. We haven't broken the structure just yet. It's reducing. Here's the spots. So just make a note here. Do not cancel the 90-cent limit. Still long this bad boy. Got watch out for VIX. So I canceled the 90 cents limit there. And so good. All right. So last little straw there. If the Qs do close below this level here, I'm going to prepare a certain strike. So it'd be about what, 55.88, I should say, give or take. And so therefore, I might want to just maybe go 2 points out of the money here. Maybe not even. So I'll pin a 587 strike put, at least for right now, in preparation. On the QQQs. Yeah, struggling right now for those. Struggling on those, Donnie. That's why I rolled to the 559, at least for right now. So if we don't get like a push, we just got another 30-minute bar close. Let me just finish this thought real quick. What did I mention? The 587 strike put, just to kind of queue it up. 587. I'll put that on the right. Put's usually on the right here. All right, so I'll get this ready to go, just ready to go. And you can even see it here. You'll probably be getting these if we rally. If we take, see, this is a put. So if markets drop, this put premium is going to increase. Okay, so if we were to make a new lower low on Qs, in other words, if I go to the Qs and we make a new lower low here, okay, well, this put premium is going to make most likely a bit of a higher high. So you're probably going to be looking at, as a cost basis here, roughly about maybe $1.30, give or take. All right, but this is just a Donnie footnote right here. All right, this is just a kind of pre-plan of attack. Potentiality. All right. All right, folks. Nice little pop up. All right, cool. You can see that. Phantoms number also know here. Positive COG. All right, and if we can, rally up. Some of y'all probably already maybe taking some profit. It's kind of annoying right now because of the bar is not really, the daily move here is not a lot. We are moving, but not really expanding as much here. All right, but just make sure. I'm gonna take a piss, but make sure you have some TPs here from the longs, okay? The first 1 hour bar. Let's put in a bit of a doji. All right, but we would have missed those ads at 90 cents by 3 cents anyways. But got a TP some here. Have to. At least in the other account here. We'll see. All right, TP some. Long calls, nice ads down there. I gotta piss. All right, nice rip here. Don't forget to bring a towel. All right, dump ski here. All right, nice all TPs there. If you still are in the original trade from this morning and you happen to add to it, depending on your average fill, you got some things here working for yourself here. So just make sure you're distributing some there as well. It really depends on your average fill. All right, the first hour and 5 minutes been a little choppy here, but navigating decently with a first stop loss on Qs in the morning, nothing too crazy. And cool. So that plan still kind of remains the same. See if we can kind of, I don't know, we'll see, rip this up, but that already gave us plenty of opportunity here to, reduce some risk exposure, etc. Still looking good. Make sure you get some limits up here. And if you're just kind of calm and cool and collected and not frantic of up, down, and using a couple things as guides there, we'll see. But this is still nothing to write home about here, at least. But it's only 10:37. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this out, team. I'm hoping. I got sick earlier in the week, so my beginning of the week was a little weird. Yesterday's session in the live trade room was not myself. Better now, a bit more myself. So we'll see. Make sure you distribute, and it could be a little choppy here, but I'm gonna bang out of here. If you see a couple of new folks in here, welcome. What have you? If you want to become an official member, potentially go to this website here, TradePhantoms.com. Click on register. You have a ton of Phantoms members in here. Folks growing extremely good and fast at a very fast rate. The people who take this serious. This website will bring you, if you click on register, your name, email, phone number, all that. Click the attend live there. You'll get registered, which is today, March 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll be hosted by the Mr. Black or the Mr. Green. And, here's an agenda, topic, etc. How markets work. We're all from the professional side. Okay. Multi-direction, uptown, sideways. Large accounts, small accounts, don't matter. It's not just stocks, futures, forex, even options, even crypto. All right. Day trading for income all the way to long-term wealth management. It's kind of a one-stop shop for kind of all asset classes and kind of all styles. We're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us. You can come check it out. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great as well. Don't matter. I'm still going to be doing our thing here, training the people who take this very serious And if you're not serious, man, I'd say don't even join, man. Don't even waste your time or our time. No harm, no foul. But yeah, I'm gonna bang out. Don't get chopped up in this chop. Be patient, okay? Be patient, be patient, be patient, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of your day, rest of the trading day. And I'll check some of you Phantoms, official Phantoms members later today. Not in this class, but we got options class later today. I'll we trade crypto mainly the for crypto. Yeah, do we smoke crypto? Yes, we do. Mainly the not shit coins and things like that. We have to be careful. I'll do a couple of stupid shit on my own personal account with money I don't care about and to risk. Okay, high risk, but Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin is going to be the main thing as that's kind of developing into an actual thing. So we're still doing it from like a professional level. There's going to be no like shit coins and fart coin and all that kind of stuff, right? So, but yeah, man, love me some Bitcoin. You kidding me? You kidding me? All right. That said, I'll see you folks when I see you. And God bless. Take care. Blue out.